This mayor in Metro Manila has been making headlines since assuming office. Apart from being the youngest in the National Capital Region, he has received praises for his transparency in governance and proactive initiatives in the fight against COVID-19. Joining me tonight is one of the outstanding young men honorees of 2020, Mayor Vico Sotto. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. You now belong to a distinguished group of former TOYM awardees for government and public service. You have the late Senator Benigno Aquino, the late Mayor Jesse Robredo, and Senator Juan Flavier. What does this recognition mean to you and the people of Pasig?
Sir Rico, first of all, thank you for having me. It's nice to join you this evening. Obviously, this recognition means a lot, no? But I hope that it doesn't just end with the recognition, but really the question for us is, what do we do now? Siyempre, kahit sino naman gustong mabigyan ng parangal, ano? Pero sana magsilbi itong inspirasyon sa akin, pati sa mga ibang tao na nakakita ng kwento. Hindi lang yung kwento ko, kundi yung kwento ng 7 outstanding young people. You know, all 7 of the awardees have really incredible stories that we can all learn from and be inspired from.
So, Mayor Vico, you mentioned challenges ahead. What are the challenges ahead in Pasig and for our country as we continue to face this battle against COVID-19?
Well, the COVID has been challenging from the very start. Of course, the challenge really here is that there are day-to-day problems that haven't gone away just because there's COVID. Just in healthcare alone, the people who have cancer, heart disease, they didn't stop having cancer or heart disease with COVID. But our hospitals had to adjust, our health centers had to change dramatically. And it goes, for every single industry, from education to every other problem and challenge that we have on a day-to-day basis. And the thing is, we have to do a balancing act every single day.
You mentioned the word balancing act. Mayor Vico, given where we are right now, infections still averaging in the 2,000 area daily, and now the detection of variants and mutations of COVID-19, is it time to further open up the economy to include movie houses, video arcades, and other leisure activities?
Well, one thing is certain, we do need to open up the economy slowly. Again, the key word here is slowly, but it also needs to be gradually, slowly and gradually, because we've seen how the lockdowns have affected our economy. People have lost jobs. People are going hungry. In Pasig alone, 5% of businesses have closed. They filed for retirement. The actual number is probably higher than 5%. But obviously, we have to balance that with protecting our gains when it comes to fighting COVID. And so, you mentioned cinemas. Definitely, for now at least, we will keep the cinemas closed here in our city. That's among the other things that we consult the experts in everything that we do. To me, a lot of talk has gone on about GCQ or MGCQ, but I think at this point that's it doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is what are the actual policies in place.
And you mentioned about consulting health experts. We spoke with one health expert earlier, Dr. Benjamin Ko, a respected infectious disease specialist, and he has said we should keep these leisure facilities like movie houses and video game arcades closed. And we should prioritize the opening of schools over these leisure activities. What is your view on this, Mayor Vico?
Well, on the issue of cinemas, again, whether you call it GCQ or MGCQ, for now we will have cinemas closed, remain closed here in Pasig.
What about schools, Mayor Vico? What about schools? Should they reopen?
For schools, well, actually, I talked to the CHED recently.
Yeah.
I was with them, I think that was yesterday or the other day. We visited the Ateneo School of Medicine. and it looks like they're on track to open partially, at least their lab, the classes that have a laboratory component. So this is a good step forward. I looked at their campus. They were very well prepared. Not only the markings, but the contingency plans, and the campus is very well ventilated. There will be social distancing inside the classrooms. And so they're very ready. And I think this is, once we get Ateneo School of Medicine open, hopefully other institutions will also follow suit.
And we are indeed, Mayor Vico, at a critical juncture of this pandemic. We are just awaiting the arrival of the vaccines. How can you and how can we help our kababayans understand what getting immunized means for all of us?
Well, as we have seen, there's really a high level of distrust in vaccines nowadays. Probably not just in the Philippines, but worldwide. You have a lot of disinformation, fake news, and sometimes even not necessarily fake news, but news that is taken out of context. Nakasulat sa headline, nabakunahan na senior citizen, namatay. But if you read the whole article, you'll realize that the senior citizen didn't die from the vaccine, but an underlying condition that she or he had years before. So hindi dahil sa bakuna. Coincidences do happen, and if we only look at the headlines, then we will really have distrust. But if we listen to the experts, makinig tayo sa mga dalubhasa sa larangan ng medisina, makikita natin pwede tayong magtiwala sa mga bakunang ito, ligtas at mabisa mga bakunang ito. And so what's really important now for the local government, but really for all of us, is we need to help each other and educate one another so that we trust the vaccines. After all, if these vaccines have emergency use authorization, they're approved by the FDA, not just our FDA, but the equivalent, our FDA in other countries, the regulatory bodies. If they say it's safe and so many people are looking at this, mahirap makalusot. So many regulatory bodies are looking at this, so many experts are looking at the different brands of vaccines. If they're approved by the regulatory bodies, our FDA in particular, we know that they're safe and they're effective. So we have to really help each other spread the good news and help each other and educate ourselves also.
So pagdating ng bakuna, Mayor Vico, sa Pasig, magpapaturok ka ba sa bakuna in public? Will you show everyone as a role model, as an example, as the mayor of Pasig City, that you will be vaccinated first?
Well, Sir Rico, I'm very much willing, but I believe in following the rules. I believe in we should follow the Department of Health prioritization guidelines. So kung saan man ako dun sa guidelines, willing ako magpabakuna. Actually, kahit anong brand na unang dumating, willing ako magpabakuna. But for us, we see in the DOH guidelines, it's healthcare experts, healthcare professionals first. So we will go strictly by that. And I feel that when we see our doctors, our nurses, our healthcare frontliners trusting the vaccines and getting vaccinated, and we see that they're okay after, then the general public will also, they'll start trusting the vaccines more. So I think it's really important that we see our doctors getting vaccinated.
Fair enough. And briefly, Mayor Vico, before we end the program, with the uncertain times that we are currently in, what is your vision for a better Philippines?
Well, with all of us, especially the young people of our nation, we see things that we want to change in our country, whether it's practices of corruption, palakasan system, every single one of it, even in transport system, in the healthcare sector, all of us see things that we would want to improve. And I think that the young people of today really think differently. We want to see better governance. We want to see people with integrity get into positions, not just in government but in all sectors. And my dream is to see really more young people get involved in positions of leadership. More young people getting more and more active in making positive changes in our society.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Pasig City Mayor and TOYM 2020 honoree, Vico Sotto.